All right, guys and gals, so we're back for installment 2. Sorry that I'm slow, but I really hope that this does translate into like helping you do this essay one step at a time. So it's my goal you can watch each one of these videos and you know what kind of paragraphs that you need to do, and this writing is just going to flow quick and easy, and you're all going to get excellent grades on this paper, right? And you're going to be proud of them. I'm going to be proud of them. I can't wait to read them. I'm excited. Okay, so going back to what we're looking at here. So in the last video, we talked about how to write a good introduction paragraph, and we talked about those components that make for a good introduction. So now we're going to move on to body paragraphs and how I want you guys to approach them. All right, this one is a really big deal because in history, I think sometimes we feel like we just need to write a paper that's just like a long list of name, dates, and facts. And that's boring as heck, and that's why most people don't like history. So I hope that this outline kind of helps you make an easier transition into giving more than just a list of name, dates, and facts, but kind of some analysis as to why should we care? Why do we need to care about these name, dates, and facts? All right, so here we go. So just like the introduction, our body paragraphs and any body paragraph that you write for any essay should have 4 components this time. Okay, so we're going to have a topic sentence, evidence, analysis, and another transition, which is different than the transition in the intro. Okay. Every essay, okay, in the body, your body paragraph should always start with a topic sentence. If you do this, it is the mark of a good writer, okay? So your topic sentence, the purpose of the topic sentence is to let your reader know what this body paragraph is about, and it should connect back to the thesis. And that's why this thesis statement is really so important, because if you have a strong thesis that lines out the body, these topic sentences flow so easily from that. And that's why I wanted you to do that thesis first, because it's really, that's the heart of the paper. If you have a good thesis, the rest of your paper will come from that. All right, so for example, and I'm using my Columbian exchange one again to kind of give some examples on this. Also, before we get to our example, let me note a topic sentence is that's one sentence. I taught high school English, so my kids were always very concerned with, and how many sentences to have to be in a paragraph. So I try to make this very easy for you, so you know right what I'm looking for and what a good one looks like. So one sentence, the topic sentence. All right, so how am I going to make my topic sentences? I'm going to go up to my thesis statement, and I'm going to look at my points. All right, so my first point for my first body paragraph is about the spread of disease. Okay, and I know that my larger argument is understanding the legacy of the Columbian exchange. So I'm going to say something that lets my reader know I'm going to talk about disease and the Columbian exchange. However, I will never, ever, ever say in this paper I am going to, or in this paragraph I'm going to talk about. Don't do that. It sounds bad. Don't do it. In academic writing, you don't say I or me. And we just don't do that. So just if you're in the habit of it, I know there are teachers out there that teach you to write that way, and I will find them and fight them all individually. Not really, I'm not that violent, but just don't do it. It's a bad habit, and I want to break you of it because your writing will improve because of that. All right, so in this topic sentence, I'm going to say something like the spread of disease was the defining legacy of the Columbian exchange. And y'all can agree with that, right? I mean, we watched the John Green videos on it. I mean, basically wiped out Native Americans, and the Europeans got civilists, so they got what they deserved a little bit too. Not enough. All right, so see, it does not have to be a long, fancy sentence. I know that it connects back to my thesis. I'm talking about my point that I had mentioned up there, and I'm talking about the big picture, which I know my big picture for this essay is the Columbian exchange. Cool, cool. Now, evidence. More emails, sorry. All right, now evidence. Here is where you're going to give your facts, dates. Make sure you're citing where you get that info, okay? That evidence, I think, should be something like, I want to say, 3 to 4 sentences. All right, for the sake of time and the fact that I don't really have time to go and do my research to cite what I need to cite here, let's just say I would write 3 to 4 sentences giving the statistics for the number of Native Americans wiped out. Maybe I would give a couple sentences as an overview. These are the diseases that the Europeans gave to Native Americans. This is the disease that Native Americans gave to Europeans. This is where all of that historical who, what, when, where evidence comes in. Okay, and this is where you're adding that in. Then we come down to analysis. All right, the analysis is the most important part of a body paragraph, and so often we kind of forget about it. Okay, so it's not enough to just tell me about these diseases. It's not enough to just give me the facts. You need to tell me, why should I care? So the analysis is kind of answering the question, so what? So, and I mean, you have to kind of treat your readers like we're dumb. I mean, clearly, if you look at the statistics for how many people died of disease, you're like, oh wow, that's bad. But you have to explain that. The analysis is so what. So in the analysis, basically what you're doing is explain how that evidence relates to the big picture of your paper. So for example, in the Columbian Exchange part, I'm going to say, the loss of life was so massive that this is why when someone thinks of the Columbian Exchange, disease and the spread of disease should be immediately what comes to mind. It's heartbreaking to consider entire villages of people wiped out from disease. This knowledge sticks with people, and it's horrifying, almost as horrifying as what as other things that the Europeans forced upon natives. Which actually I think kind of gets into my transition there. So I think I'm giving myself away. All right. So again, analysis here is going to be another 3 to 4 sentences explaining the connection between your evidence and the first part of your thesis. Okay. So in this case, my analysis is explaining, what does this evidence have to do with the legacy of the Columbian Exchange? What does that tell me? Okay. If you're doing the French Revolution one, you're giving me evidence about things that are going on in France. Okay. People are starving. This many people are starving. Clearly, we're all like, yeah, that's bad. But, there are lots of people starving in lots of countries and they don't cut the king and queen's head off. So you need to explain to me how this starvation pushes them to revolt and violently revolt against the aristocracy. Does that make sense? So the analysis, this is really what makes a history paper cool and not boring, because you're not just giving me facts, you're telling me why I need to care about those facts. Okay, what is that proving? And then a transition, this is kind of like, we're getting fancy here, okay? We're doing some good writing here if we have a transition. The purpose of a transition sentence is just to wrap up this paragraph and let your reader know it's time to move on. Writing transitions can be a difficult art and lots of people struggle with it. This is kind of lame, but one that I use a lot when I'm not sure what to do is like, and that's not all, folks. There's more. Don't say it like that because we have to write in an academic tone, but you can say something along the lines of, as disturbing as disease was, there were other legacies of the Columbian Exchange. Boom, body paragraph's done. Well, one done.